All right, I have Milo here and we are going to do an in-between grooming appointments groom with him. I'm gonna show you how I shape the face. So first I like to start by working on the eyes. I take my thinning shear, but make sure you've really brushed through your dog and keep brushing. That's an important step as you groom them to keep consistency. I'm holding Milo under the chin, just holding his hair. It doesn't hurt him. I'm taking my curved shear and going to trim the hair that is growing into his eyes. So I am just going slow and snipping right into there. When we're trimming the hair between the eyes, we want it to be in a bit of a triangle. So not to a total point, but about this shape. So I'm just snipping the hair in that direction. This hair right here, his bangs, kind of his eyebrows, they naturally swoop up. So I am working with that. That's what gives our doodles these cute faces. So you can follow the shape of the curved shear when you clip right there. Now, if we need to trim the bangs, that's next. I'm going to pull that forward. Now I'm kind of just resting my thumb on the top of his nose because I don't want him to move his head. This I want in an arch. We're working on hair from about the middle of the head forward as bangs. And Milo. So I'm going to take my curved shear and starting at the sides of his eyes, I'm going to snip just about 1 centimeter off to start with, especially when this is a groom that's in between grooming appointments. We don't need much. So I've snipped that off and I'm going to brush it out. I'm going to follow that arch with my thinning shears. So I don't want to take off all the hair, I just want to soften that hard line. So I'm going to snip a few times and I snip and I just kind of pull. And when you're trimming the face, less is more. Just start with a little bit. You can always take off more, but I like to switch directions of my shears. So now I am going the opposite direction. And see how that just softened those bangs? The whole goal is to round his head. So I'm angling my shears back to blend back. Does that make sense? We're rounding all around. So now that I have just worked on that front bang, now I'm gonna work on the top of the head. The goal is rounding the head. I like to leave a good amount of weight on top of the head. We want a fluffy head. So I'm going to now turn him to the side so you can see. I'm gonna make a little bit of a mohawk. You always wanna connect a short hair to a long hair. So we can kind of see that there is a disconnect here. I'm going to take my thinning shears and I'm going fast to blend. And see how I use this technique with my thinning shears. I'm cutting and pulling to just really give a soft look. And I'm rounding the head as I do this. Again, grab your comb and just fluff up. And check your work from all angles. You're going to want to look straight on from here, turn your body so you can see head on, and you will be able to see where I can see right now. I'm not sure if you can see it on the video, but I can see we're a little longer in places. So I've grabbed my thinning shear, grabbed the bottom of his snout, and I am rounding. And see how I'm not giving him a whole lot of attention? I'm just doing my work. He's used to this. This is just part of life. So I can see right here, a little shorter to longer. So I am just blending. Really the goal right here is, I'm gonna hold his bottom of his chin again, is we want this to angle down. We want this to treat this kind of like the bang front section of his hair, but we want to separate his face from his ear. So my recommendation is to trim and keep the hair that's under the ear short, and we can create a strong jaw and the definition from there. So Now I'm going to lift up his ear because I want to take off the bulk. So I'm going to take my straight shear and I am going to take off this weight. And that is a little bit more than I've taken on the rest of the head, but that's because I'm comfortable doing that. So see how his ear rests? We just want to create a jaw from there. I like the length that his muzzle is at, but I want to show you how I would trim it. Starting from back here, we've created a strong jaw. So to start his muzzle off where I want it to be under the jaw, I'm going to set this in a straight line. And I'm going to follow that as my guide back, but I don't want to direct my shears right at the back of his throat. So I'm gonna come from back here and I'm going to cut forward. And I can see right where that line was. So we've trimmed Milo going this direction. Now we want to go the opposite direction, but we want to make sure the shear is facing away from his neck to keep him safe. So I'm going to just either hold on to his neck right here, or I will hold on to the bottom of his chin with my fingers. So that's just holding the hair, just to keep him from moving, or I can hold his mouth closed. But when I'm working under the neck, I really want to keep my hand from there so that I can see that it is even. Okay, so remember I've set my line right here. Now I'm following my guide back. So I'm going to turn my shears facing forward, create a strong jaw. So I'm gonna move that ear so you can see. I'm gonna come from behind. And I'm going to snip right here and go forward. Now I'm going to go sideways and get rid of that excess hair. But see how I'm not cutting into his throat? I am cutting either away or sideways, but I'm switching directions. And to really even this out, I'm going to use my thinning shears in the end, but I am really just setting that right now with my straight shear. So I'm gonna go on the other side of him, and I'm going to get my comb to make sure that I combed out his beard and his neck. And I'm gonna get a little bit lower myself to make sure I can see. So see how there's this line right here. We're following it down and cutting away from the neck. Oh, and I'm just holding his nose right now. I've got a pinky under his jaw or under his mouth, and I am going straight. And then I'm going sideways. But see how this is a little bit rough? I'm now going to take my thinning shears and I'm gonna go fast on those ends to really smooth it out. I'm going to keep using my comb. And I'm going to do the same thing under his jaw to smooth the entire muzzle out. I can see right here, it's a little bit longer. So now I'm going to go again, sideways. And I'm checking my work as I go, looking at both sides of his face to make sure that it is even. Then I'm going to take my thinning shears and go over the same places I just cut. Gonna hold under his chin, and here's a few ways you can do this, but what we want is to create a round face and really curve up like a smile. So I'm going to use my curved shears and angle up as I get the weight off. I really like to trim up the front of the muzzle. I'm going to use my curved shear and just trim off the hair that's right at the lip. Good boy. Good job. Hey, good job. Yeah. See how me just giving him that pet is reassuring him and literally calmed him. There you go. You're going to repeat what we just did on this side on the other side. The goal is to create a round face and really consistency on both sides of the face. And this is the finished product of the Good Pup Grooming Kit.